Ça me rappelle des souvenirs.
The first question is if you want to tell us about your background.
I started first. My name is François Villard. I'm based in just near Condrieu, southern Rhône, in Rhône Valley, but in the north of the Rhône Valley. 40 years ago, I was cook, but I had passion for the wine, and when I was 20, and I did sommelier training course. It was in I did sommelier training course in 1987, 88, and I met winemaker. I visited vineyard, and I decided to change, and then I did a viticulturist training course in Mâcon d'Availlé, southern Burgundy, and I bought my first land in 1988 in Condrieu, and I planted my first vine in 89, and I made my first wine in 91. And my first production were 400 bottles with 91 vintage.
How come you ended up in Rhône? Are you born in that area, or how come you?
No, I born in near la Côte Saint-André, the country of Hector Berlioz, the famous composer. My parents were warmer, but not wine grower. My father was a farmer. But I said I was cook, but I had passion for the wine when I was 20.
Same as Charlie, he's also a cook who
Yeah,
had passion for
also
the
a
wine.
former chef, now turned sommelier, now turned into the import.
I was cook, not chef.
Have you also worked as a sommelier at the restaurant, or?
No. I did sommelier training course because I used to work in a hospital in the middle of the 80s. I used to work in a hospital, and I explained I had passion for the wine, and I thought it was easier for me to work in the around the world wine in working in a restaurant. I thought sommelier was easier for me, but I did the sommelier training course. But I met winemakers, I visited vineyard, and it was magic for me. And it was 35 years ago, and Northern Rhône was free, available, not expensive.
Not the same prices as Bordeaux.
Yes.
So how many hectares do you have now?
Little bit more than 40, 42, 43 hectares.
And how many different appellations?
I'm producer in Côte-Rôtine, Condrieu, Red and White Saint-Joseph, Red and White Gros-Hermitage, Cornas, and IGP Marsanne, Roussanne, Vionnier, and Syrah.
Is it hard to keep track of vineyards because they are very far apart, I imagine? Is it hard to keep track of everything?
So I produce Gros-Hermitage, but I don't own any vineyard in Gros-Hermitage. I produce Cornas, but I don't own any vineyard in Cornas. I purchase grape.
Yeah.
But I'm owner in Côte-Rôtine, I'm owner in Condrieu, Saint-Joseph, Saint-Péret and IGP, but all the IGP are situated just around my cellar.
So, next question. What is your favorite thing about being a winemaker?
Ce que vous préférez en tant que winemaker?
I remember when I did my sommelier training course, the very important thing for me was to sink to the vine, to the grape, and then open bottle, and it was magic for me. Comment on dit le trajet, the process, the road to
the bottle.
the process to from the grape, from the earth to the bottle.
It's almost like watching a
To the glass.
child grow up or something. Okay, so the next question is, what is your least favorite thing about being a winemaker?
Ce que vous préférez le moins en tant que producteur de vin?
A lot of people say paying the loans and taxes.
Stay in my office. Stay in my office. No, I spend a lot of my time in my office because it's very important to sell the wine. So, but I don't like that.
It's better to be in the vineyards.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is a question from Charlie. Since you're an old chef also. Do you drink a lot of your own wines, or are you like a sommelier getting off a shift and just wanting a cold beer? What do you drink in your own free time?
No, I drink a lot of wine from the other winemaker, from the other region, for sometimes from the other country. But I drink beer too.
Nice. What's your favorite?
Beer is like water for winemaker.
What is your favorite region outside the Rhône Valley? What do you prefer to drink?
About the red Burgundy. About the white. In the past, Alsace was one of my favorite regions, but Loire Valley. But from Loire Valley, I prefer the Sauvignon, Sancerre or Pouilly Fumé. I belong to, as winemaker, I belong to Rhône Valley, but I'm not completely fan from the southern Rhône because I prefer the style of wine with less alcohol and less power.
And you find that in the northern more than in the southern?
Yes, but I don't drink a lot of wine from Rhône in general. I drink wine from Savoie, white wine from Savoie. Red from Savoie is more complicated with Mondeuse sometimes, but white wine from Savoie.
White wine from Savoie is really nice.
I drink champagne too.
Okay, so this is an interesting question, I think. So, what is a typical day in your life?
Wow. Office. No, it can be office and talking with my viticulturist, visited the vineyard.
Lots of office. Okay. So.
And no, I spend a lot of time with my cavist too, because if we have to make blend, I decide. Actually, I have a viticulturist for the vineyard. I have a cavist, but I decide almost all, and especially in the cellar.
of course, it depends on which time of the year it is. Also, of course, if it's. Okay, let me see. Where am I? So, how does the François Villard wines stand out in a blind tasting from other wines from the Northern Rhône? What is your personal style that makes you stand out?
I think the freshness. About the red, I vinify with almost, if I can, 100% whole bunch, so to get more freshness, to get more mineral. And about the white wine, we keep the wine on the lees 10, 11 months to keep the freshness too. So I think I am known about my wine with the freshness.
It's a very good answer. So if you had to describe your style of winemaking with just one sentence, what would it be? It is the freshness, but what is your philosophy when it comes to winemaking?
I often said my dream will be to produce wine made for long aging, but easy to be drunk young. So no, for me it will be the perfect wine. Fruity, easy to drink, but with soft tannin. Made for long aging, but easy to be drunk young.
What is your favorite time of the year in the vineyards?
Near the harvest. Because it's very exciting at this time, and it's very exciting because it's very important moment for the winemaker, because we have to choose the date of the harvest, and possibly the winemaker makes the difference at this time in choosing the date of the harvest.
And one of the last questions would be, which of your own wines would you bring to a deserted island, and why?
What?
Si
je pars sur une île,
vous pouvez prendre qu'un vin.
Si on prend qu'un, possibly it will be a big bottle.
That's a good answer. Which big bottle?
I drink more white wine, so possibly it will be a white wine. And if I stay in Ireland, possibly I will fish.
Yeah. Find some oysters. So I think the last question is only what is happening right now back home in your winery? What are you doing right now this time of year?
We are preparing the bottling of Côte Rôtie, Cornas, Condrieu, and the rest of the time we pray to get rain.
Well, really good answers. I hope it wasn't too hard.
How is the vintage going right now?
That's a good question.
It's very dry. No, I say we try to get rain because it's very dry. 2021 was rainy, and it was complicated. But last year, 22, was very dry, and finally it's very important to get rain. But for now it's very dry, so we need rain. It's not very important at this time, but in 2 months, in middle of April, if we don't get rain, it will be complicated.
There
can
has
be complicated.
been quite a lot of difficult vintages the last couple of years, right? Or
21 is considered as not good vintage, but for me, not bad vintage. It was a vintage like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, with less power, little bit more acidity, but all the wine are very fruity, very drinkable. It's very important. It's very important. But possibly the climate change and since 2017 we produce wine very different. So 2021 is more like 90 or the vintage. I started in 91, but is more vintage from the three last decade.
but you feel that the climate change, the effects of the climate change quite a lot, or
It's warmer.
Yeah.
It's warmer and earlier.
Is it hard
But
to
the problem is not. Finally, it's warmer. The problem is more about the we got less rain, so it's more complicated. The wine, we have 85% water in the wine. If we don't have rain, in the future we won't have wine.
is it harder for different grape varieties that in the warmer climate? Because of course Syrah likes a bit of warmth, but is it gonna be too warm or?
It's more. I think it's more complicated with all the vineyard in terraces, because all the vineyard in terraces are situated in the base place, but the base place for 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and possibly this place are possibly too warm now. We will see. The problem is the temperature, but the problem is the water too. If we have water, I think it will be okay. If we don't have rain, no rain, no pas de vie, no life.
No rain, no life.
This was not a question that I wrote down, but was in my. What is your philosophy when it comes to oak aging? How do you work with that?
In the past, I used a lot of new oak, and now we use very small part of new barrel. Possibly also because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we produced wine with less richness, and we needed to add little oak to bring roundness, and with the recent vintage, we produce wine with more alcohol, more natural roundness. So I think we don't need to add a new barrel. And 30 years ago, the new barrel was very fashion. And now the fruit is more fashion.
Yeah, Parker is no longer as popular.
Well, yeah, that was all the questions. I could think of 100 more questions, because it's always interesting to have these discussions. But
we have one more that we could add.
Yeah,
How do you see your wines in a gastronomic setting with food? And like when you cook and you're going to drink your own wines, like what do you cook? And how's your philosophy in general about your wines and food?
Alors,
good question.
about the food is, for me, it's very important. When you decide to cook, to respect the balance, and it will be the same with the wine. not really. I don't like the wine from the south, but I prefer the wine from the north, because in the north of France, often the balance is better. The balance is better, and but the food is the same. I don't like to drink wine with lot of power, with a dish with lot of power. In France, everybody like the cheese, and I prefer the white wine with the cheese. But in France, a lot of people drink red wine with the cheese. For me, it's very important to have contrast if you decide to match food and wine.
Yeah.
I said my dream will be to produce wine made for long aging, but easy to be drunk young. But in France, we drink white wine by the glass, but it's less often we drink red wine. Comment on dit en dehors?
Pardon?
En dehors des repas.
Yeah. As, like outside of meal, just as a drink by itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you drink more white in France by itself than you drink red by itself.
But lot of winemakers produce red wine made for long aging, but only made for long aging. We talk with Patrick about the rosé wine, and the rosé is very popular in, I said, in France, but possibly all around the world. Rosé became very, very popular, and I think rosé became very popular because we don't have enough red wine, very easy to drink in summer.
Yes,
Because red wine with big power is perfect for winter, autumn, winter. But in summer, I will prefer drink red wine in summer, but light red wine.
I agree. And we have a short film with you talking about the Croix-Hermitage certitude. I think we have a bottle right here. Yes. If you could tell us about this, the wine, and maybe a bit about the name certitude and how it's made, very shortly.
Je sais pas comment on traduit certitude.
Certainty.
Certainty.
Like certitude, c'est certainty. Ouais.
Yeah. That you're certain of something. Yeah.
Oui.
Ouais.
To be certain.
To be certain.
Mm-hmm.
Bon, Old Syrah, of course. The wine is vinified with 65% old bunch. It's very important for me to vinify with the stems in Croix-Hermitage, because Croix-Hermitage, the region of Croix-Hermitage, produce wine with low level of acidity, and stems bring freshness and minerals. And the minerals for me is the best freshness for the wine. So it's very important to bring the character of Croix-Hermitage. I don't search to produce wine with big power. The power is natural. The power comes from the soil. And 21 was more complicated vintage. 21 was more rainy to compare to the previous vintage, but we made wine with easy to drink, possibly not made for very long aging, 5 to 10 years, but 5 to 10 years is okay. And the wine aged mainly in big oak tank, and small part in neutral Burgundy barrel, but the biggest part aged in big oak tank. and we bottle it in January.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yes. So now we have way more than we expected.
Yeah,
This is
actually,
perfect. Now we have for the entire year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Okay.
This is perfect.